Good morning, class. Let's start with today's topic, that is global poverty scenario. Global poverty scenario means situation of poverty or the condition of poverty in on global level or on the world level. So the proportion of people in different countries living in extreme economic poverty defined by the World Bank as living on less than $1.9 per day, has fallen from 36% in 1990s to 10% in 2015. So we had seen that not only in India but at the world level also there had been a decrease or decline in the rate of or the number of poor living in poverty or in the state of poor from 1990s. It has shown a downward trend or decline, and we had been able to achieve this means result wherein number of people had fallen from 36% to 10%, means there had been a drastic reduction in the number of poor peoples worldwide also in last 25 or in the last 2 decades, because of the development programs had been taken up, because of the policies, and most importantly because of the globalization. Globalization, I said, was interlinking of all the countries wherein trade was made on a large scale. All the countries are interlinked. Multinational companies came into the existence who had their production and distribution centers worldwide, which resulted in growth of number of jobs, regional development. As for the development, the basic thing is investment and industrialization or creation of more jobs. Jobs can be created when more and more industries are being set up. Because of the financial issues or absence of any entrepreneurial skills, people from other countries, they come, they invest, and most of the time government in underdeveloped or undeveloped countries, they promote the functioning of multinational corporations, as multinational corporations bring with them huge capitals, huge expertise, means they had experts from around the world who come, who set up their industries, who create more jobs, and because of all this regional, there is development on a large scale. Means a place where an industry is set up in a rural area, or automatically that area starts to develop, means townships comes to that place, health facilities start to develop, education system becomes good, transportation system, it gets improved. So because of all these factors, we see development and reduction in regional disparities. Means some places are more developed like metro cities, and other rural areas are less developed because of absence of any investment or industrial development. So with the coming of the multinational companies, or with the globalization, we had seen means a global development. People started getting more job, and because of higher earning capacity, they were able to bring their standard of living upward. Also because of the expenses made on education sectors, setting up of vocational institutes, training institutes, schools, colleges. Okay, people got specialization and they were lift themselves out of the misery they had been living in. It is marked with great regional. Although there had been a substantial reduction in global poverty, it is marked with great regional differences. Now all the regions in all the countries, they did not show same level of development. Some areas were more developed, other areas are less developed. Again, that might be due to the physical features of that area, or because of the location, because some areas might not have all the natural resources easily available, or the mode of transportation, or because of some other reasons like law and orders, climate, etc. Poverty declined substantially in China and Southeast Asian countries as a result of rapid economic growth and massive investment in human resource development. Now China and other Southeast Asian countries, they were able to show more development because they incurred heavy expenditure, or they invested largely on human resource development. Human resource development means development of all the facilities or all the infrastructure that promote human development, like provision of healthcare facilities, provision of educational facilities, setting up of more and more specialized institutions like IITs, IIM, then provision of more health facilities like setting up of specialized hospitals, multi-specialty hospitals, which can provide, and again for public conveniences like providing for sanitation, clean drinking water, proper energy, etc., which facilitates human rights life and raises the standard. By promoting expenditure on human resource development, they were able to achieve rise in number of people living above poverty line, or in other words, they were able to bring down the poverty level to minimum level. Number of poor in China had come down from 88.3% in 1981 to 14.7% in 2008. You can see the result. China invested largely in the human resource development functioning or the programs, and because of that, from 88% to 14% means there is a drastic fall in number of poor living in China from year 1981 to year 2008, from 88% to 14.7% to 0.06% in 2019. 3 years from back means almost they had 0.1% people living below the line of poverty. Means the standard of living of people in China is high. They have money, enough money to live a good life. In the countries of South Asia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, the decline has also been rapid, 34% in 2005 to 15% in 2014. With the decline in the percentage of the poor, the number of poor has also declined significantly from 510.4 million in 2005 to 274.5 million in 2013. Because of different poverty line definition, poverty in India is also shown higher than the national estimates. As I told you, we do not take only in consideration the income or consumption. We take many other things like, is he able to take care of the educational facilities, is he able to take care of the medical facilities, or is he able to give good food, good life to the family. So because of all this, the estimation in India is much higher. Even all the other countries, neighboring countries of India, Pakistan, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, all these countries, they were able to bring down poverty to from 34 to 15%, means almost half, almost bringing it to the half. But the data that we show in India is, you can say, a slight higher, means we take into the consideration number of other factors also for determining if a person is living above the line of poverty or living below the line of poverty. That is why in India the number of people living below poverty line is always kept high, whereas if we take national estimates, it will be much lower. In sub-Saharan Africa, poverty in fact declined from 51% in 2005 to 40% in 2018. In Latin America, the ratio of poverty has also declined from 10% in 2005 to 4% in 2018. Poverty has also resurfaced in some of the former socialist countries like Russia, where officially it was non-existent earlier. Now we see, on the one hand, we see that on the global level the poverty has come to fall, or number of people living below the line of poverty had shown a downward trend. Yet in some countries it has again come to forefront, or where the means officially they had no person living below the line of poverty. Now these countries have people living below the line of poverty. For example, Russia. Earlier Russia was a superpower. After the Cold War, Russia was disintegrated, means there was a split in Russia, Soviet states of Russia, and it was broke into number of small states. Because of this, there was economic decline in the economy of USSR, and now Russia has people living below poverty line. It resurfaced, means it came up. Earlier Russia was a country where there were no people living below the poverty line. As in Russia, it is a socialist economy. Everything, all the means of production, all the resources are owned by the government, and the government over there work for the public welfare rather than earning profit. So poverty in Russia had no place earlier, but after the disintegration of Russia, when Russia lost all the command, all the control, poverty resurfaced, or Russia again became a country which had poverty, people living below the line of poverty in that country. We can see it from the graph, means number of people living in year 1990s in other countries, and see how they had come to decline and almost to the minimum level by the year 2030. We had been able to achieve this objective, but because of the pandemic, we know there is again a recession at the global level. All the economic activities or economic development activities had been affected, and in some countries economic activities have come to a standstill because of the lockdowns, because of the restrictions that had been put on the economic activities. We can see it from the example work from home, 50% capacity. Ultimately all these things will result in the pace of economic development, or at the rate of economic development. Now we come to the next topic, causes of poverty. Means what are the reasons of poverty? What are the reasons why we have poverty in India, or causes of poverty? There were a number of causes for spread of poverty in India. One historical reason is the low level of economic development under the British colonial administration. Means there are number of reasons why we can say that there is existence of poor peoples, or the people living the line of poverty, or living in extreme misery. One of the reasons can be, or historical reason can be, the low level of economic development under the British colonial administration. We had studied, or we know that British adopted the policies which affected Indian industries. They destroyed handicraft industries, handloom industries, all were affected. British put a restriction on exports, means exports were high, exports were high, okay, means cost of export, okay, was high. Number of taxes were put on Indian products so that British products do not face competition in the world market or in the British market. So ultimately what happened, that economic development or the development of Indian industries took a severe hit. Craft industries also took a hit. India was rich in all these things like handicraft, handloom, then other spices and other kind of things. India was leader, means Indian products were in great demand in western countries or in the British country. But when the Britishers came, they wanted to earn more profit, so they made a policies, or they made systematically all the policies, all the institutional arrangement in such a way that ultimately the effect was more severe on Indian industries, and because of that the development which could have increased India's position of wealth declined, and there was a drain of wealth of India from India to West Europe. The policies of the colonial government ruined the traditional handicraft and discouraged development of industries like textile. Handicraft industries, because Britishers brought with them industrialization, there was industrialization in Britain. So what Britishers used to do, they used to take raw material at lower prices from India, export it to the Britain where they had industries, machines, manufacture things from over there, and again bring those manufactured or final products back to India and sell it in India. So since they were able to get raw material at small cheap prices, and they had started using machine, the cost of production was less and the quality was better than handmade things that were made in India. So immediately they started attracting or getting good response from the Indians, and they started earning more profit as compared to the Indias. And since people started taking or using more of the British good, the demand for Indian products started to decrease and fall, which resulted in destruction of industries in India. Okay class, as I am having shortage of time today, we will continue tomorrow with the same topic, causes of poverty. Thank you. सर इसको stop कर